YouTube, what is up? We are back for the final video, I guess, for the 2024-2025 NFL season. A few different things I want to touch on this video. First off, I want to recap the year that we've had and how awesome it's been, and just kind of dig through some numbers of, how we totally ended up on the year, what we risked, what we ended up returning, all that kind of stuff. Then I want to dive into maybe a little, today's going to be a little bit of a recap day. We'll get to the Super Bowl at the end, but the season's coming to an end. We have to do some sort of recap. And then I want to just recap some of my, what we went through this season, some of the predictions that might have went right or went wrong. And just, then we'll talk about the Super Bowl a little bit. And then at the end, maybe I'll ask you guys, what kind of videos should I make during the off season to kind of keep the channel alive? Because man, it's brutal. It's a long stretch until we get to September again, where we really get to for men it's Christmas. For women and children, Christmas is in December, but for men it's in September. So we have a long ways till Christmas for us. So yeah, I'll ask you guys at the end what you think I should do. But first off, let's just get right into the meat and potatoes. How did we end the year? What were our final numbers? Let's get into it. So guys, for the year, we went 36-21. That is a win rate of 63.15%, which if you know anything about betting, that's insane. I want you guys, either now, pause it, or after. I want you guys to look up what is the break-even rate in sports betting. Then I want you to look up what is a professional sports bettor, what kind of numbers do they strive for. Okay, and you're going to see that 63.15% is insane, and it's even better than I could have, hoped to do this year. Even though I did kind of set an expectation this year that I would like to hit a 60 to 65% win rate. That's still an insane, feat to hit. So we did it, and I just hope to, maintain it over the years. So we ended up plus 5.79 units. So to put that into simpler terms, if you're a $100 per game bettor, you would have made $579. If you are a $1,000 per game bettor, you would have made $5,700. If you were a $10,000 per game bettor, you would have made $57,000. Basically, not counting all the little cents and stuff, but ballparks, that's what you would have ended up. And as far as ROI goes, we hit at about 10%. So just a little over 10%. Was the ROI. So again, for example, we went 36-21. That's 57 games. To make math super easy, if you were a $100 bettor, that means you risked $5,700 total across the amount of bets that we placed that either won or lost. Us ending up plus 5.79 units. Let's call that $570 if you're a $100 bettor. 579. Let's say that was your profit, and the total bets was 5,700. That would equal 10%. So pretty simple math there. Hopefully that didn't confuse you guys too much. But that's kind of how you calculate the ROI. You just got to plug and play with whatever numbers you're working for. I'm trying to make these numbers as simple as possible. So you just have to adjust it to whatever your per bet is. So 10% though, that's really good. I know maybe to you crypto people that sounds insane, but if anyone that just has money in the market, the S&P, their retirement, their 401k, whatever it is, 10% is a number that you're generally happy to get. It's a good return. The fact that we were able to get that return is something to be proud of, and it's really good. And it just validates that what we're doing here works, or at least has been working so far. Okay, so those are the numbers recap, guys. I just want to kind of turn back the clocks here for a second, and do a little recap on what was our intention coming into this year. Brand new channel. What's going to happen, how are we going to do? Are we going to, I said it at the beginning of the year, I'm going to document this publicly, and I'm either going to eat shit or do average or do really good. And whatever happens, happens. If I ate shit and lost every game, you guys would have been here to see it. And we had weeks like that where they didn't go well, and, we just had to take them on the chin, and we seem to always bounce back really quickly. And those that stuck with us, I'm sure they didn't regret it, because we were Mr. Bounce Back. Every time we had basically a bad weekend, we bounced back. And that was the theme of this year. When this year started, I basically said, I love football, and I love the idea of getting an edge in markets. It's kind of what I'm obsessed with. And it's more fun when it's something that you actually like football. Like if you told me, hey, go find an edge in soccer, I'd probably want to go hang myself because who cares? But football is a total different beast. It's something that I would watch even if I don't have money on the game. But I could combine the two together, and I thought I had something special with the bottle that I was putting together. And I thought maybe I'll wait a year or a season, I guess, to see how this plays out before I start documenting it online. And then I thought, what if it does well? And I just wasted a year that I could have documented it, which was this year. And I'm so glad that I took that approach that way. I'm a year ahead now. I already showed you guys for a year, how well it did. If you look at my pin tweet for this year, I basically laid this all out saying, look, guys, I have a model that I want to document publicly. I don't know if it's going to do well or not. So I'm not telling anyone to bet my plays. And if you look at my videos, basically at the end of every video, I'm saying, everything's a 1-unit play. You don't have to tail it though. This is not financial advice. You don't have to tail it. You can just watch if you don't feel comfortable, betting my plays. I try to make that very clear at the end of every video, because this was all one big test. It was all one big live experiment. And fortunately enough, it did end up being a successful one. But going into the season, I really wasn't sure what it was going to look like. Even though I internally, I did feel good about it. I was confident. My number one priority is providing value and protecting you guys. So I didn't want you guys risking real money behind picks that weren't behind a system that had a validated edge yet. So I was very conscious to make sure to tell you guys, you do not have to bet these picks. You could just watch them. It's okay. That was kind of the theme of this year. And then as the year went on and we had more data, it was like, okay, we were doing really well. I always still try to say, you don't have to bet my plays. But now we have some data behind us, and, as the time being, we are hitting at a really high win percentage, and we've had a significant edge so far. I still personally want more data before saying, okay, these picks are going to cost money, or these picks are so good, everybody, has to pay for them, or, that kind of stuff. I haven't earned that right yet, in my opinion. I still, need to provide more free value to you guys. And that's what I plan to do next year, and just, kind of validate our edge even further, and prove that we can have back-to-back years where we did have an edge. And it's just, my goal is in the future, it gets to a point where you can feel good about, oh, I know I can bet with him, or I could tail his picks because he has documented, time and time again that in the long term, he does have an edge. You never know what's going to happen on a one-game basis, but over the course of a season, do you win or lose? Over the course of seasons, do you win or lose? So that's kind of what I'm putting out, and continue. We've proved it so far, so that's totally a win, but I do still want to continue to prove that further. And guys, just a fun little fact here. I guess I'll kind of tie this in with as I recap, move on to recaps on how, some things that we were calling out during the year. I'd say we got a lot more right than what we got wrong. Some things that I was saying this year, some big themes. I was saying the Bears are going to be one of the most overrated teams in football. You can't just draft Caleb Williams and assume they're going to be good overnight. The Commanders somehow made that happen with Jaden Daniels. The Bears, shocker, they really fucked that one up. I said the Bears were going to be way overrated. And it's funny because in the start of the year, they actually did pretty good, but they fell off a cliff. And what'd they lose, like 10, 11 in a row? They ended up falling off of a cliff completely. I think they really fucked up when they fired their OC after like one or two off games, and then they really they looked clueless on offense after that. The other big prediction I had was I said the Cleveland Browns are going to suck, and just like the Bears, even worse than the Bears. How many games did they win? Like 3 or 4 games? They were so bad. I said Deshaun Watson is arguably the worst quarterback in football since being on Cleveland, and people just look at these rosters and assume that, just because a roster overall is good, that a team's going to be really good. I try to educate you guys and say, guys, rosters are great and all, but look at the quarterback. Who's playing quarterback, okay? You see the Chiefs in the Super Bowl right now, but their roster isn't as stacked as Philly or maybe some of these other teams that they've played, but high IQ quarterback, high IQ coach. Coaching and quarterback is really what matters in this league. So that's one of the themes and edges that we have. So Cleveland Browns were horrible, just like we said they were. We're going to be. Another one we got right, Pittsburgh Steelers. Everybody was... Now, I'm not saying... I was saying they're going to be as bad as the Browns or the... what was the other team I just mentioned? Oh, the Bears. But anyways, the thing is, a lot of people were saying, are the Steelers Super Bowl contenders? And I know I kept saying that's insane. This team, every year, they're a bunch of frauds. Mike Tomlin is one of the most overrated coaches. And I know every video lately has turned into a Mike Tomlin rant, but he is one of the most overrated coaches in the NFL. Whoop-de-doo, you can win some regular season games. But, you look at, they win a lot of their games based on fluke. A lot of their games based on luck. You look at the real data, like, they're not a good team. They don't adjust. They don't get it. Look at the clip of Julian Edelman ripping Tomlin for still not really scheming defense at the higher level. And yeah, so that was one of the teams I was calling out for a while that's going to get exposed eventually, and they did. I think they lost like 4 or 5 games in a row to end the season. Total frauds, total pretenders. That was another one that was right. The one that I would say I got wrong, it was more of an early on the season that I got it wrong. I ditched them pretty quickly, and it was actually the best thing. This is some behind the scenes shit, but this is the best thing that could have happened for this year for us. So I can't remember if it was 2 or 3 weeks in a row, but there was a point where the Panthers switched their quarterback from Bryce Young to Andy Dalton. And I considered Andy Dalton a huge upgrade over Bryce Young because Bryce Young was, I know he's playing good now, so the perception might feel different, but this guy, they were losing every game by like 40 points with Bryce Young. Like, he was horrible. He was throwing like 7 picks a drive, it felt like. Like, he was historically bad. So I just thought having him out of the game was a huge upgrade for the Panthers. And, it's not like I love Andy Dalton, but I thought he was a solid quarterback just based on the data that I had. And I think if the first game he did really well, maybe the first 2 games he played pretty good. But then after that, they fell off a cliff, and my model kept telling me to keep betting them. And, there's something about the eye test and the gut test where you're watching these games and you go, something's not right here. Like, even though my numbers said there's value here, I'm watching this game and I could see that there's not. I could see that this team fucking sucks. I could feel it in my gut. Like, this does not feel like we have an edge. Like, there's something wrong here. And that was the turning point in the season. I never mentioned it publicly, but that was the turning point. After that stretch where we kept losing on the Panthers, I really started to, and I'm not going to give away the sauce on what I did and what I changed, because that's what's going to make me unique, is having my unique edge. But you guys shouldn't care because you're going to get the picks anyway. But I figured out what bigger picture things I wasn't incorporating into my model, and what smaller picture things that seem important but really aren't that important that I needed to take out of it. So I totally kind of ripped my model apart, redid it all, and felt like I had something that was now we had metrics that meant way more weight as opposed to when we first started, where looking back, I'm like, okay, we were taking certain metrics into consideration that in hindsight weren't that important. And now I believe we have it tied down to just the metrics that hold the most weight. And that totally flipped the season because I felt good. Whether they won or lost, you're not going to win every bet. There's a lot of variance and luck involved. How's the ball going to bounce? That's life. That's sports. So, but the thing is, after that moment, I felt way, way better about all our plays. Watching them, the eye test, the gut test, it passed everything where I'm like, okay, we definitely have the better team here in this game. Like, it totally felt different. And I'm like, okay, I'm finally onto something here. And if I would have had that model down the whole year, who knows how well we would have done. But the point is, and this is life, man. I can't stand losing. I hate losing more than anybody. I hate failing. All that's the worst. But if you have the guts to stomach it and look at it for what it is head on and just learn from it, it can become the biggest blessings, because that's what the Panthers were. Because I wanted to break the TV, watch the Panthers, and they ended up being our biggest blessing because I learned how to avoid betting teams that are actually really, really shitty, and we were hyping them up to be better than they were. So we learned from that, and after that, I don't think we really bet on any shitty teams. Another team that we rode a lot, one of those more slightly above average teams that I thought was really good was the Bucks. Man, Baker Mayfield played awesome this year with Liam Cohen. The Duval weirdo that Jacksonville hired, but fuck it, they were really good together. And that was another prediction where I was really high on the Bucks. And they ended up having a really good year. They should have won that game in the playoffs. We didn't bet it, but they should have beat the Commanders. But just so many bad fluky plays that third and inches killed them. But that's a different video for that to go deep into that game. But guys, that's kind of how our model evolved over the year, and now I feel really good about it. I feel even better that next year we're gonna have a full year with my better model than what we started the year with. So I'm excited to see how next year plays out. All right, so that's enough of that on the recap. Last recap I think we'll do here. I'll make this brief because this game was a few weeks ago. Was the Buffalo Bills beating the Baltimore Ravens. We had them at even money at home in Buffalo, which was insane to me. And as I'm making this, guys, like this is why, look, there's a lot of betting content out there. Most of it's entertainment. Most of it is entertainment and shitty picks. Mine's the opposite. I'll do my best to be a little entertaining, but this is not meant to be a clown show. This is meant to be something to educate you, provide value on, and hopefully make money off of this channel for free. It's more of a value channel in that sense, not just we're gonna do entertainment and provide the worst picks, 8 picks a game. That's what a lot of people do, and it's like I don't know how anyone finds that entertaining, like just losing money on betting 7 different bets on one game. And the point of bringing this up is I'm trying to tell you guys, this is what separates people that actually make money doing this versus clowns that are sponsored because they have a lot of followers but they can't win any bets over a long period of time. Is we have been so selective with our bets. Our last bet was the divisional round. We didn't bet the conference championship. I'll touch on the Super Bowl in a second. We didn't bet, for example, we didn't bet week 17 of the season. We didn't bet week 18 of the season because those were like awkward preseason games for the most part where teams are either done for the year or they already clinched. So it was a lot of awkward games where, starters aren't playing or, is a team even going to try this week? Weird stuff like that. It's in those moments that you have to be disciplined and not be like, oh, I'm a bettor, I have to bet something. No, we'll bet when there's something to bet. So we bet the divisional round, Buffalo Bills beating the Baltimore Ravens, even money at home. That was a great game. Buffalo was basically in control the whole game. Like I said, like I thought they would be. And the Ravens came on strong at the end, fell short. But here's the thing. I feel like we had an edge in that game. We won the bet. Lamar Jackson, I know people are going to say Mark Andrews messed up at the end. Yeah, sure he did. He should have caught that ball. But let's not act like Lamar had a perfect game. Lamar had a horrible interception and a horrible fumble. It's not like that ball on the fumble really got hit out. Like he just dropped it. So he made 2 huge errors in that game. There was a holding that Buffalo got that was not a hold at all. That basically turned one of their early drives into a punt that probably would have resulted in 3 or 7 had they not had that awful holding call. So my point is, you can always say this team got screwed here, this team got screwed here. In the end, Josh Allen was the best quarterback in the league this year. They were at home at even money. That was value all day to me. We took it, and we were fortunate enough for it to be a winner. We haven't lost a bet since, I believe, week 15 of the season. We went, trying to think here. I said we didn't bet week 17 or 18. We won in week 16 with the Chiefs against the Texans. We won in the wild card round with a teaser. We had the Bills and the Rams teased. Both of them won outright. And then in the divisional round, we rolled the Bills again. And this is where being selective is your edge, because I've been saying it since the playoffs that I think the Bills are the best team in football. So why didn't I bet the conference championship? Because you have to look at situations. The Bills in the conference championship is a whole different ballgame. They were on the road against the Chiefs. That's not the same as having a cushy game in Buffalo where they're hosting. This is against the Chiefs. You know how weird it gets with the refs and the Chiefs and all this shit. That is not the time to bet them. I thought that game was a total coin flip, and I don't like really betting on coin flips with coin flip odds. So I didn't get involved in the game. You watched the game play out. It was basically a coin flip game. Could have gone either way. It happened to go the Chiefs' way. So some questionable calls in that one too, as always. But that's why we've made money on this channel, is because we know when to get involved and we know when it's very risky and we should just stay away, because we don't want to gamble. We want to have a significant edge if we're going to risk real money behind any plays. So that was the recap on that game. We ended up getting 1 unit on that, and like I said, we ended the year after that game 36 wins, 21 losses, up 5.79 units on the year. Selective betting, man, that's what we do on this channel. So expect more of that next year. And lastly, let's get to the Super Bowl. I know it's what everybody wants to hear. I saved it for the end, guys. And if you really cared about me having a Super Bowl take, it's going to disappoint you, because again, go watch the clowns. That'll entertain you and give you 7 picks for the game. Here's my take. Do not bet on the fucking Super Bowl. If you want to gamble, that is the definition of gambling. There's going to be so much money on both sides. It's a coin flip game with coin flip odds, basically. The only real winners in this game is going to be the sportsbooks. Of course, one side's going to win, and that's going to be who wins. But it's you have to just look at it pre-flop. And pre-flop, there is no edge. There's no edge. Anything can happen in this game. They're giving you anything can happen kind of odds. Just stay away. Wait for better opportunities. Wait for, like this year, betting against a overhyped Steelers team, or betting on a really good Buffalo team at home, with low odds, or playing on, a team like Denver that's in the playoffs, rookie quarterback, stuff like real edges. When we got the Chiefs in week 16, laying 2.5 at home against the Texans, that's an insane line. Those are way better opportunities than 2 juggernaut teams, 2 heavyweights, coin flip game, coin flip odds. Stay away. There's no edge in this game, or at least no significant edge for me to warrant giving advice to bet on this game. Stay away. This is where you're going to see the biggest line of casuals lined up to bet this game. Betting this game is for losers. Just stay away. If you're rich and just want to have fun, bet the game, cool, who cares? But if you're actually taking this seriously, you want to build your bankroll, you want to have an edge. I see people firing their biggest bets of the year off on this game, they're fucking Nostradamus and know everything. You don't know shit. You're gambling. The sportsbooks are going to be the real winners in this one. They're going to win off their vig because they're going to have so much action on both sides, okay? Just stay away. Enjoy the game. Have some chicken wings. Call it a fucking day. So, sorry to disappoint. That's fitting for this, how we do this channel, to not have a bet on the Super Bowl. We'll bet on something better next year. No need to force action ever. And lastly, guys, I'll try to come up with some ideas myself. Maybe you can hit me with some stuff in the comments, but I personally, I don't want to make any videos until the next season. I really just care about betting. But if I do that, that's going to mean there's 7 months where I have no content on this channel. And by the time the next season comes on, the algorithm is probably going to have me wiped out, and it's going to be hard to get any views. Not that I get a ton of views. We started this year from scratch. We got 20 subscribers. I know it's very small, but it's way better than 0. And, we've been getting 50 to 100 views. That's kind of been our range to end the season. So again, it's a lot better than 0. So hoping we can build on that next year. But in order to build on that, I think I'm going to need to have just some sort of content. It's not going to be every week, but maybe once every 2 weeks, I could put out a video, obviously NFL related. Maybe we'll look at some draft stuff. What I might like to do better, honestly, is I don't know if there's an audience for this or who would even care, but just doing recaps of the teams and the divisions of this past season. Maybe we look at how the season started for a certain division, all the teams in it, how it ended, where they got unlucky, where they got lucky, where they were just bad, where they were good. And then maybe we look forward ahead to the next year on what things are looking like for this division. Maybe that's something we can do. Tell me if that sounds like a good idea. That's kind of the idea floating in my head right now. If you have other ideas, feel free to shoot those in the comments, because it's going to be really hard to just make content when there's, no games being played. Nobody really is going to care as much. They're going to be watching other sports. And this is strictly going to be basically an NFL channel. So, and more specifically an NFL betting channel, but I can't do betting videos for 7 months. So I'm just going to have to talk about, things going on in the NFL. So help me out with that, guys. I would really appreciate that way. When the real shit goes, channel could have a little favor in the algorithm when that time comes and we're not just totally wiped out. So if you made it to the end of this video, you're a psycho. I appreciate you guys for rocking with me. I know it's not a ton of you because the channel's small, but the few of you that do, I appreciate it. And go follow my Twitter. That's where I'm going to be more active, at Karis Football. As always, that's what I've said throughout the whole year. That's where I post my picks quicker because it takes forever to make YouTube videos, but Twitter's easy. So, or X, I should say by now. So that's it, guys. I really appreciate it if you guys watched and made it this far. You guys are the best. Look forward to next year. It's going to be a long 7 months till Christmas, man. So going to be a lot of bullshit till then, man. I don't know how we're going to get through it. That's why football is the best, because it's the shortest. It's once a week. Every game matters. These other sports, they're too long. No games matter. There's nothing like football. Other sports they're brutal. It's going to be hard for me to even try to get into them. So that's it, guys. It's going to be a long year till September, but day by day we'll get there, and eventually we'll have more picks for next year. Until then, I will figure out what kind of content to drop, and that's it, guys. I appreciate you. Be well. Peace.